Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another coaching session. I am, of course, your host, Will Cooper, joined by our fabulous agents here at Brookshire. Got a good topic today. We're talking about the language of benefit. If you ever talk to a teenager, you got to speak their language, okay? And for women, if you ever talk to men, you got to speak their language. And for men, we got to speak women's language if we're going to communicate well. Well, guess what? In the process of communicating in sales, we got to speak the language of benefit. So I post some questions in my email. Does anyone read these emails, these crazy emails that, you did? Oh, well, thanks, Leslie, Ange. Yeah, Joe. Okay. Joe, me, I did. So I posed some questions. Do you want to grab the chat and answer them for me? The first one was, what's your last, well, I mean, look, you don't have to say, but what was the last big purchase you made? Go ahead. What was the last big purchase that you made? A juicer, home remodel, chandelier, home. Okay. Trip to Hawaii. Good. Okay. Keep them coming. Air Force Ones? Really? Explain, Mike.
Well, it's big in relation to what people should spend money on with shoes.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
New vinyl fence, flights to New York. Okay. Well, keep them coming if you can type. So what was my next question? My next question was, did you spend time studying, researching, asking people? Did anyone want to weigh in on that? New baby doctor bills. Way to go, Paige. That's a good one. So yes, Leslie, you absolutely, okay, quartz countertop. So much time researching. Okay, good. Yeah, Tammy and I, she says, when I get my head about something, I can't stop talking about it. So no one would probably guess this, but the thing that I got my eye on right now is a mister system. Misters. You too, Joe? You want misters? So because all I had to do was sit on that patio while and under the pergola in my house in St. George, it was 112. I realized I need some misters. And right across the hall from the Brookshire office is a cafe that's a real popular place. And it's called Coffee Love, I guess, or Love Coffee. Maybe is it Love Coffee, Joe?
No, it's Coffee Love.
Coffee Love. Okay. So Coffee Love. And anyway, they got a patio out there. I walked over there. It's 105 degrees when I was there. It was that time of day. It was going to be 110. And they've got this mister system going, and it was really cooled the place down. Everyone's enjoying it. So Feel Love. Oh, it's called Feel Love. Feel in Love coffee. Okay.
It's just feel love. Feel love. That's right.
Okay. Feel Love
Feel
coffee.
love. Yeah. Feel love coffee.
Okay. Anyway, great mister system. So I got my eye on now mister systems, and I'm now, researching mister systems. And it turns out that you need like a pump to create like 120 PSI and a filter system and all that. I mean, who would have thought that they were that elaborate? And so, yes, I spent a lot of time researching. Okay, so here's the next question about in my email. It really was centered around why. So what were you hoping, looking back over our list here, we've got, countertops, a baby, flights to New York, vinyl fence, Hawaii, home, remodel, chandelier, all this stuff. What were you hoping to realize from this? Like, what was the reason? So type in the reason, like the main thing, like what are you hoping to get out of this? Okay, update, good design, good light, good price. Okay, what's the reason? Okay, look, while you guys are thinking about that and typing in the reason, have you ever heard of the concept of the 7 layers of why? Anyone ever told you that? Yes, 7 layers. Joe's shaking his head. The 7 layers of why is you have to ask why 7 times no matter what the answer is. Okay. And what it does is it gets you down kind of the heart of the matter. You know?
Sometimes known as the 3-year-old concept.
Yeah. Why? Yeah.
Why? Why? Why?
Yeah. You need to eat your vegetables. Why? Because they're good for you. Why? So, you know what? Okay. So what's the reason? No one's hit me with good reasons here. So look, when I said like, hey, John, I'd say, why is it important to update? Like what were you hoping to get out of that? And then you would say something. And then I'd say, yeah, well, why does that matter? You know, like something in our heads, there's something we're after, you know? So what is it? What's the thing that really, okay, to add value, to be best health of my life because it makes me feel good. Okay. Kimmy said privacy replacing fence adds value to home. Oh, Kim K. So, oh, vinyl fence. That was your answer. Okay. So when you say privacy replacing, you know, old fence adds value, you know, I'd say, well, why is privacy matter? And then I'd think, what are you doing in the backyard, Kimmy, that you need privacy for? No, I mean, where is Kimmy? Is she on video? No.
She's installing a misting system.
So, no, you keep getting to the why, and I think then we kind of discover, you know, what we were really hoping to get out of this. Okay, so today is all about the language of benefit and the language of why. So write this down. When you speak the language of benefit, you speak the language of why. Okay. So when you speak the language of benefit, you speak the language of why. And so I could say, well, why does it matter? Why is it important to you? And what's the reason behind it? And so everything is, you know, kind of the purpose. Okay. So let's also remember, as kind of a warm up, what are the core benefits that we offer a seller? Go ahead and type that in the chat. What's the core? There's a core benefits or fundamental benefits that we offer sellers. What are they? We've done this before, but this would be a, so Mariah, yes, knowledge, but not core, but the knowledge takes us there. So this is another, it's great. Like I'm glad Mariah said knowledge, because see, knowledge is benefit, sure. Our experience is benefit, but what does that get you? So another layer of why. Why would knowledge matter? And then the seller would say, because I want to net the most, you know, like I need the most money from this investment. And that becomes core, that becomes fundamental. Okay. So we can't talk about benefit without talking about the core or fundamental benefits of listing with us. So the highest possible net in the least amount of time with the least amount of legal risk are our benefits. Well, nicely said, Leslie. So, and a lot of you got that. So remember, that's the reason, that's the why, that's the benefit of everything that we ever do. And if we're really not talking about that, we're really not speaking the language benefit. So when you speak the language of benefit, you speak the language of why, and why is wisdom. So you've heard me say before that knowledge is nice, but wisdom is why it matters. And the physician level is wisdom, and the medical tech is knowledge. And you want to be, you know, the high level physician in the transaction. Okay. All right. So let's go to page 141, and let's fill in these. Let's fill these in here. So when blank is communicated and realized, the cost is substantiated. Okay. So clearly that's our key word for today. It's benefit. So let's write that in. Prudent sellers will only see value when they see problems blank and the results they want. What's that word, do you think? Type it in the chat if we're playing along here. And thanks for being interactive on Zoom. It helps your neurons. It helps all of us, by the way. So, yeah, solved. Okay, so problems solved. Okay, there are many problems that our services solve. In addition, let's not forget that we are hired to sell the property for highest possible return, meaning the blank realize is central to our value. Okay, so that would be net. And I would say, and this is a so remember, this is a fundamental benefit. I kind of wrote that in my notes right here. I'd probably, in the next iteration of the coaching manual, I'll probably rephrase this. Okay, but it's getting the point out that, we're talking about fundamental benefits. We're talking about problems being solved. And that's really what this communication technique or skill set, I guess, is all about. Okay. Just a note too, and I put out here to my margin here about problems. Sometimes you have to introduce the problem. And we've been talking about this. How can we possibly show, that a solution to a problem is value when they don't even know what the problem is in the first place? Okay, so you're going to have to educate them on problems. Like this can happen. So over here, I just put educate on problems. Okay, so when I'm communicating, I sometimes have to inject, we've seen these kinds of problems. And then we say, here is the solution. And now I'm communicating value because I'm talking about the benefit. Everybody with me? Makes sense? Yes, head nods. Okay, thanks for playing along. Okay, let's go to the next paragraph. The better we are at blank value, the more likely we are to get the listing. What do you think that is? Go ahead and use the chat. What's the blank? The better we are at blank value, the more likely we are to get the listing, or really just create a client, I suppose we could say. That's another way to say it. I liked a lot of these words. Communicating is the word I chose, but conveying is not bad. Demonstrating is not bad. I wrote in communicating because, and just my style, guys, when we're talking about communicating, that's my better way of saying sales. Okay. I just think we should be better communicators. Okay. So we communicate value. All right. Furthermore, clients that recognize value become very effective marketers and produce referrals back to the agent. I put a note here. This is the best form of prospecting ever. Okay. So when they realize value. So these graphs here are meant to show something. So this is optimal. Okay. So the value in which they perceive is on this scale, and the cost in which they pay is less than what they realize from it. That's optimal right there. Okay. So why pay 6%? Look, the other day in Park City, I had a call. The commission, you guys, on one side was $500,000. Okay. So, all right, let's put it to the scale here. If the cost is $500,000, then what is the value realized? Okay. In the eyes of the consumer, it's got to be greater than what they spend. Benefit outweighs costs. Now we've got something. Okay. So that's what we want to have realized. Now, here is the example when value is reduced. Okay. The perception of value is reduced. The price willing to pay is also reduced. So let's just say hypothetically that this line here represents 6%. So if the actual value, in other words, the truth, I'd write truth, okay, when it's, of course, when it's coming from you in Brookshire, here is what the actual value is, but the perception of the value is here, then they're not going to pay this, they're going to pay this because it has to be greater, okay? It's got to be greater. In other words, they've got to realize more than they spend for that, for a transaction to happen. Okay. Hey, Joe, can we just chat for a sec about, like, tell me why you, I know you might be in, so you went to Hawaii, right? How long did you stay?
5 nights, 6 days.
And who went with?
My wife and my oldest stepdaughter, and my second oldest stepdaughter.
Great. So why did you go?
Well, the intent of the trip was to take our oldest stepdaughter was attending college there in August. So we all went to tour the campus and make sure she understood a little bit of the layout and kind of how the whole thing was designed. And then, of course, to get some beach time.
Great. So what did it cost? Do you mind me asking?
Oh, no. I think total with airfare and everything else, we're right around $3,500.
Was the experience and what you got out of it equal to 3,500, or was it more than that?
No, the experience was far more valuable than the 3,500.
Okay. Okay. I think that's when you're happy about the outcome of something, it looks a lot like this graph. You know, what I needed to get out of it is worth more. Now, remember the Verbo commercial? Head nods if you remember. So what were they trying to say in this commercial? Like I don't know what the rental of that cabin may have been. I don't know. Let's say it's $10,000 for the week. So why would someone spend $10,000 a week to be in that environment when money's valuable? They could, it's not even something they own. It's only time. It's time and a location. And think about the monies that are spent on on property. So Mariana, experience is more valuable. Homes, lifetime of memories. I mean, I think look, if you guys have been around the sun a couple of times on this blue marble, you already learned about how you're happy. I mean, these memories and relationships, they're top of the list, so they're worth it is the bottom line. So I think you got to keep that in perspective when you're talking about when you're trying to communicate benefit. Okay, great comments there. Thanks for that. Let's go to the next page. So 142. So we all buy benefit, not feature. Okay, so here's the warning. Joe, can I ask you some more questions?
Of course.
Okay. From the technical side of things, on something that we deliver to somebody, give me a feature or a tool or something that we have. Just pick one.
Real Scout, which is a customized home search and directional communication system.
Nice. Okay. Real Scout, and he just explained what it does. Did not explain why it matters. Okay. So the warning here is if you're ever talking about something like Real Scout to a client, you better quickly get to the why it matters. Otherwise, you're losing them. All right. You got to tell them why it matters to them. What is this going to do for them? So Joe, let's look at this from the eyes of a buyer in this market. What is the top reason? If we're playing Family Feud, what is the top answer on the board for benefit and reason somebody would want to, or buyer would benefit from Real Scout?
Early notification of available properties.
Okay. And then why would, and then there's another sentence that would follow that. So why would it matter that they get notified early in this process?
In a market where listings are so few and far between, and there's a lot of competition for them, the earlier you know about a potential property that could fit your family's needs, the better off you're going to be able to make a decision as to whether or not you want more information or even see that property in person.
Nice. We're going along the right path. There's a core benefit here, and I've got to tie you back here. Let me stop sharing for a sec. I got to tie you back to a class that we had on buyers. Okay. And this is back to the buyer section. So if we have core benefits for sellers, what are the core benefits for buyers? Like fundamental. Name one. And in this market, Real Scout hits one really, really, really well. What is it, guys? Give me some fundamental benefits. I'm not going to give the answer yet. Does he work for Real I don't, Brad. I have no ties. Yeah, okay, confession. I've got stock in Real Scout. Let's go, people. No, I got no interest in Real Scout. Time savings market. You guys are close. There's a top answer on the board. It's not being hit. See, Mariah, why does it matter you're first to see the property? I guess today's message is an overarching message. Don't assume that the translation in your lingo and your words you're using is translated into benefit. Don't assume that. Okay, we're getting close here with Leslie's comment here. This is about winning the bid or getting the right home. So look, our forms help win the bid. Real Scouts help make sure that you get the right home. You find the right property. Remember the graphs of why buyers buy? What do they want? What are they after? Find the right house. Top answer on the board. Find the right house. So you got to speak that language. Find the right home. There's another way to phrase it. Let's see if I can find it here really quick. Yeah, right here. Page 114. 114, everybody see in my screen? 114. Top answer on the board. What do I want from an agent most? Help finding the right home to purchase. Right? So that's benefit. That's reason. Real Scout helps you be the first one to be notified, the first one to make an offer. And here's the sentence that translates to benefit. So that we get you the right home. And they go, yes, right? Like that's what I wanted. You go to Hawaii so that you can have memories of and build relationships that are timeless. And the Lowry family goes, yes, that's what we want. You know, and there might even be more specifics there, you know, like specifically build a relationship with, and then whoever it is. So that's the language of benefit. Okay. So let's go back to share screen and let's march through this. Okay. So to better communicate value, we must speak a different blank. What is that? Speak a different. I mean, I'm saying it. Thanks for the, thanks, Brad. Okay. Speak a different language. So Brad's got it. Let's fill that in. Let's call this language the language of benefit. This means that we carefully choose wording that blanks the benefits, tools, technologies, systems, know-how, process, and so forth. Okay, what is that? Answer? Keep them coming. I'm going back to my page because I turned the page here, making sure I got the right answer. Aha, it's blank. I don't have the answer. Okay, so what is it? This means that we carefully choose wording that communicates benefits. Yes, easy, communicates. And that's a key word we keep repeating today. Benefits and communicate. Okay. All right, so we just talked about a tool, technology, Real Scout, but why does it matter? Okay. So instead of spending too much time on what the tool does or how it works, we spend the most time on the benefit of using the tool. Okay. There's that word again, benefit. This makes sense. Do you like this? Is this helpful? See, analyze how you're communicating, and you might find you're spending too much time on the what and the how and not enough on the why. Okay, so it's kind of an emphasis, you know, it's a tweak. It's tightening up the screws a little bit here. Okay.
That's often, Will, because the why and the how are easy to explain. The benefit sometimes is much harder. You got to think a little harder. And so explaining what something does or why you want to offer that is pretty straightforward. But explaining what the benefit is to the person that you're speaking with, it takes a little bit more thought and a little bit more insight into who you're communicating with.
Right. This is why it's physician level, you guys. It takes wisdom to speak language of why and the language of benefit. So you do have to connect it. And again, don't assume anybody else is getting it. Okay. So following this emphasis, we can dramatically affect our ability to attain listings or clients. I think I would edit that to clients here. By contrast, if we eliminate the discussion on benefit and assume the client understands the reasons and the benefits, we are likely to hear commission objections and lack of commitment. Okay. So, and I talked about that in the email, right? So when you fail to communicate value, you create objections or a client that's not following your lead. Okay. Okay, so let's go talk about a different feature and let's practice this a little bit. So we all buy benefit, not feature. Okay, so there are our fundamental core benefits: net, time frame, legal amount, legal risk reduced, highest possible price, and increased chance of selling. Now, number 5 in this market is often not talked about, but as market conditions change, we're likely to talk about chance of selling as coming back up the list here. Okay, so there's your core. Okay, so we use we used Real Scout a minute ago. Let's talk about List Hub. Joe, do you want to quickly describe what List Hub does, like the what it is and how it works, and then I'll talk benefit.
This hub aggregates your listing and then syndicates that to over 150 different real estate portals across the intranet.
Great. So here is like a poor explanation. Joe did a great job of explaining the what and the how, but we can say, so again, this is your listing presentation, right, guys? You're explaining this. Why does this matter? Are we skipping over it because we don't know what it does? Maybe so. So we don't talk about the things we don't know. So if we know what it does and we know the reason, we're likely to talk about it and build value. So poor explanation. Here you can see we use List Hub in syndication. Okay, 2 things. They have no idea what List Hub is, and they don't even know what syndication is. So two marks against us because we're using lingo instead of speaking, in simplicity, which we're going to talk about on the next page. Okay. So better explanation. So, and by the way, this is just our marketing department editing. I don't expect you to actually say at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Utah Properties. I don't expect you to say that. I would say, really, you could say at Berkshire Hathaway, so I think take that out. Okay. We employ a vendor called List Hub. Their job is to normalize property data. Now I could even say meaning that our, square footage translates right, our lot size transfers right. In some states, they use square foot on lot size. In other states, like ours, we use like a percentage of acreage. So they normalize that to make sure that the data can translate over multiple websites. This includes property photos and information. This allows us to standardize, normalize format on websites to use. While these various websites display your property information, each visit is tracked, giving us vital data to guide our decisions through the marketing process. Now we're getting closer. It's like we're almost, and now we need our translation to a core benefit, right? Like it's almost there. You guys see that momentum? We're kind of talking about why right here. Each visit is tracked, giving us, this is the, right here is the transition to benefit, giving us vital data to, this is reason, guide our decisions, is a reason, is a benefit. And then so that we write this in, all right? So that we can net the highest possible price, right? So that we can net the highest possible price. Okay. So you can see by this illustration, this allows us to reach the largest buyer. Okay, so let's continue. This allows us to reach the largest potential buyer pool, generating more interest, more showings, and the best buyer for your property. All benefit right here. All benefit. And then this is more, so this is injecting a tie down. It's like you said earlier, you need the top dollar, right? We agree. And maximum exposure can help with that, can't it? See that? It's tie down and benefit. Okay. So let me just say this more naturally. So List Hub gives us the tracking mechanism that guides our decisions through the marketing process, whether we need price adjustments along the way. You can see by this simple illustration, and I would say this, look, these are all the home sites where this data is shared. This allows us to reach the largest number of potential buyers, generating more interest, more showings, and ultimately the best buyer for your property. It's like we said earlier, netting top dollar is the most important thing, isn't it? And they go, yes. I said, we agree. I agree. And maximum exposure, it can help us do that, can't it? Okay, so that's adding, look, that's me memorizing the structure, but trying to not be robotic and scripted, but speaking the language of benefit. Okay. Is that helpful, you guys? Is this, I sure wish we were together in a room right now in person. Because I'd get a little better feel for how you're feeling about this. It takes a little bit of practice, you know, like you need to understand that you're coming at these things like Real Scout. This is List Hub. You got to come at it with reason and why. And if you're not doing that, you're missing it. So, you know, here is kind of the description and this is what it does, but why does normalizing data matter? Okay. Why does tracking or guiding to help track, why does visit tracking matter? And then it's tied into top dollar. So now we go from what it does to why it matters. That's speaking the language of benefit. Okay. All right. Good. Head nods. Everybody good? Thanks, Kristen. That's a good head nod. Okay. All right. Let's go to the next page. Oh, wait. We got more down here. Did I get the bottom of this page? Maybe I didn't hear. Okay. So it's like you said earlier, we need top dollar. Oh, no, that's just their reply. Okay. Got it. Okay. Next page. So this is a repeat of some of the things I've said in the past. Hey, I thought I would remind you guys, see, when you see these pages right here, there's 6 principles that help us make whatever this is part of, you know, who we are. Okay. So if you forget what those are, you go back to the hexagon lessons had 6 principles: affirmation, key question, who can help me, schedule task, what do I need to learn, how do I measure? That's the hexagon to apply principles and make them habits. Okay. So here is the principle that I speak wisdom. Okay. That's why this is in this chapter. Knowledge is nice. Wisdom is why it matters. So when we're discussing data, we spent a lot of time lately on data. And 2 weeks ago, when I hosted a sales meeting, we talked about translating why data matters to somebody. Okay. So here is taking a look at why, applying it to data instead of why and applying it to benefit. Okay. All right. So come back here. We're talking about data. Here are some questions to consider. Why does this matter to me? What does this information say about what lies ahead? How does it affect my ability to sell or to purchase? What does this information tell me that I did not know? What new challenges are we facing? So if we're not coming at it from this, then we're not speaking why, and we're not talking benefit. Okay. So make sure okay, please pay attention to this. Here's the gem, another gem for today. when you're taking the social media posts that are in the resource center and you're putting them in your social media, and there's a piece of data, answer this question. Answer these questions they want to hear from you. So Kristen, the image is nice, the little chart looks good, but they want to know what Kristen thinks. Okay. So you say, guys, take a look at this information that is new today. Okay. What I find to be interesting is it tells us a little bit about what lies ahead. Okay. And it's your opinion. You're speaking why, you're speaking wisdom, you're speaking on a professional level, you bring value, and that's what they want from you, not just the data. Okay. Remember Steve Roney saying context over content. You guys remember? Context over content. Okay. That's what this is doing if you're injecting these questions. So all I did was to take this page here. Here we got our thinker. And then we've got one of our marketing reports, and it's got this information. Okay. Well, it's kind of a blur. Who's going to sit there and study that? Not many. But if you weigh in on, hey guys, new challenges we're facing, like home inventory will continue to remain low. If you know of anyone who's trying to find a home to buy, we're probably going to face multiple offers on homes for quite some time in the following price ranges. Okay. Good news. We have strategies for this to help them win the bid. If you know of anyone who might be interested in these strategies, have them contact me. What a great post. Okay. We have strategies for that. Okay. And the way to make this a habit, first of all, as I say to myself, I will always explain why data matters. It's an affirmation. Okay. Then I say, is there something like, does my data pass the date test? That's not right. Does my data, what should that be, you guys? What did I try to say here? Does my data pass the blank test? It's not date. Help me out. Help me, author. What should that be? Kevin, what is that supposed to be?
I'm looking at that going, well, would if I said this to a date that I was with, would they believe
Yeah.
me or would they laugh at me?
Yeah. If I'm trying to close the sale, come on, go to dinner with me.
You're right.
Yeah.
So maybe your data is flawed.
Right.
Or maybe it's you.
Does my data, I'm gonna have to think about that. Does my data pass the, I mean, it should be like the Y test.
Yeah.
You know, like the Y test. That's what it should be, you guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm gonna edit that right now. So it should be the Y test. Okay, thanks, Kev. So the other principle is who can help me do this? Sometimes we do need the help of others. One thing I believe our maker puts us on this planet, and he puts the answers to your questions in someone else's head. And the reason for that is because we're all his children and he wants us to play together. Okay. He wants us to play together. So he's got the answer in someone else's head. And you don't know it all. So you have to go play with your friends. Okay. And then we get into a task here and scheduling it like, hey, I'm going to practice this. I'm going to keep doing this. Like if I'm going to do this today with you guys, I'm sitting coaching you. I'm saying, when are you going to post data on your social media page? And when are you going to communicate what your views are with these questions? And you're going to say, I don't know. And I'm saying, grab your calendar, put it on the calendar, and then we're just going to calendar it. Okay. And then what do I need to learn might be what I need to study. Okay. And see the books. What do I need to study? So it could be different for all y'all. Okay. And then I'm going to, how do I progress on this? That's the hexagon. Guys, if you have teenagers who need help, that's 6 great principles. Okay. 6 great principles. How about ourselves? Yes. Like notice that sometimes people will say things like, like we talked about last week about how important it was in the Win Friends and Influence People book with Dale Carnegie that you know someone's name. Do you know how often I've heard people say, I'm not good with names? That's a negative affirmation. I'm not good with technology, a negative affirmation. I'm not good on social media. I'm not good at whatever. It's a negative affirmation. So turn that around and follow these 6 principles. I think it'll help you, okay? Okay, let's do the next one. Man, we're cooking along today. This is good stuff. Okay, simplify your message. Ah, this is a good one. And it ties into affirmations. Okay, so some of the best discussions have happened in this room, and I had Saddle View here. Kev, look at that full room. Remember the days?
Remember the days.
Remember when we used to be Petri dishes and share our colds and flus with each other? Remember when we used to do that? And we survived.
We had stronger immune systems.
Yeah, we did, I think. So here's Old Mill. This is upstairs. There's some familiar faces in there. There's Cindy. I can pick out right here. And there's Mark. And then this is down here on the 3rd floor. There's Joan Pate. There's Tom Roney, Jeff Topham. It's Natalie and Kim. And I think is that Lori? I think that might be Lori Gee. There's Michael Hurd. There's Allison Reemschneider. Anyway, I go on through the thing here. But often you guys might hear me say something like this. I say, turn to the person next to you and say, you were very wise to be here today. And it kind of drives half the team nuts when I do this. But there's 2 things going on here that you have to find a way to simplify your message. And this is kind of in the same vein of speaking the language benefit. Because when we speak core benefit, we speak simplicitly, like finding the right home for your family is simple, right? Winning the bid is simple. That's fundamental benefit for a buyer. For a seller, netting the most. Yes, keeping it simple. That's the same thing here. But if you're talking complex issues, which we have, and you don't communicate why and benefit simply, then you're not communicating effectively, and you're not communicating value, and you're going to get a commission objection, okay, more often. Okay, so that's kind of what this whole lesson is. And then here again, my presentations are best when I simplify my message. And I think if you want to make a note here, again, that's going to be talking about the fundamental benefits. Okay, speaking fundamental benefit. So I could put by speaking fundamental benefit. Or I could say speaking the language benefit. Okay, so when's your next presentation? What is your main message? How can you emphasize it simplicitly or simplicitly? Okay. How will you do that? And then who can help me? So you can practice with somebody. Okay. I'm going to schedule this. My next one, I'm really going to focus on this. One of my mentors, this is back when I was teaching a lot at Stringham in front. Every month I teach probably 70 people live. Sometimes it was more than that. And it was great practice. And so my mentor said, you're really lucky that every month you get to practice presentation skills. So he goes, but which one are you going to focus on this time? And I'll tell you which one really stuck out to me. He said, I want you to look in people's eyes. That's going to be the one thing I want you to really focus on. I want you to connect. I want you to look in their eyes. And I said, well, it's a big group. I sometimes find myself kind of just scanning the group. He says, I understand. You don't do that anymore. When you pause to talk, you pause and you focus on one person in the group, on their eyes. And he goes, no matter how big the crowd, always look them in the eye. And I'm just like, wow, I'm lucky to have somebody that cares enough to teach me how to be a better presenter. So that was the one thing I focused on. What about you? What can you make more sharp and focus on in your next presentation? Okay, let's open the mic up. anything you guys want to add to this? So we're in communication. We're talking about wisdom and why and benefit and simplifying our message. Are there takeaways or insights that you want to share? Come on, I know you got them. Let's hear it. Kev?
You know, I think the thing that's helped me most over my career is always talking about the benefits and then asking the tie down question to make sure they're on the same page and that they're in agreement. It's this process of little yeses along the way actually lead to a big yes at the end of the presentation. But if they're not in agreement on any one point, they may say, well, let me think about it. And I think that's an important skill, is to every time that you present a benefit, you ask them and get agreement through a tie down question, just to make sure that they're on the same page and they're moving forward with you. Sometimes we're so excited about getting through our presentation that we end up rushing to the end, and they've gone a different direction about 10 minutes ago, and we get a maybe or let me think about it instead of a yes. So I think it's just important to always get that nod of the head that they're in agreement, ask if they have any other questions about that, and then move on. And then when you get to the end, it's just natural for them to say yes.
He's right on, you guys. Bullseye. We talked about this on page 139. Kev, did you hear my story about when my wife wanted to buy a minivan?
Yeah, I did. She got you to say a lot of little yeses. So
a lot of little
yes.
yeses.
Yeah.
Look, you can walk to the back and you can get the girls a drink and we don't have to pull over to the side of the road. That's a lot easier, isn't it? And I'm like,
she tied you down very well on each point, made you say yes.
Exactly.
So you had no choice at the end but to agree.
That's right. Phew. But you know what? It's okay, because guess what I did? I did that with that Chaparral 265 Extreme. I took her on the boat and I'm like, guess what? That makes into a bed. How cool would that be, huh? She's like, yeah, that's nice. Yeah. I got to admit.
Two can play that game.
That's right. Okay. Anybody else? Insights. Thanks, Kev. That was great. Anybody else want to share or takeaways or thoughts or insights? We got about 5 more minutes. Come on. Don't be shy. I'm going to call on somebody here. Let's see. Oh, they're all going to drop off now, Kev.
Anybody that's got a partner has used some sort of benefit tie down with their partner, even if they haven't used it in sales.
Right.
Or it was used on them. So they've got an example.
Exactly. Come on, you guys. No other thoughts? You're just happy to listen? Oh, okay. To the chat here. Learning guts, actually say what you do. Need to think about it. Is there something I can explain more? You feel more confident saying it sincerely. Sometimes people say they need to think on it just because it's habitual. Sometimes they actually reserve that. You could explain further. Yeah, very good. Brad says, I need help. Can anyone whose primary market is, oh, Sugar House Valley buyer. Okay, help Brad out, you guys. Little family help there. Read your chat, you guys, if anybody on this Zoom can help Brad out. So Jacqueline says, when they want to think about it, a couple things come to mind. Look, first of all, don't forget to be human and heartfelt. I think we want to be, look, this is why I don't like salespeople, okay? And I don't like a lot of the coaches that teach how to be salespeople, because they're going to say, oh, here's the script for think about it. You know what? Half the time I go, you should think about it. It's a big decision. You should take some time and see how you feel about it in the morning. You should talk to your family. I think that's really wise, because this is a big decision. So I go the other way half the time. You guys with me? Who's going to argue with that? And see, the fact is, it's real. It's a big decision. I mean, and then I break it down and say, are we thinking about, like, like whether you should sell it all, or is it more about the choice between myself and Berkshire Hathaway? In other words, is this a decision about who you list with, or who will be your agent and guide, or through this process, or is it whether or not you're buying or selling it all? That's two different decisions. Because if they say, well, no, for sure, Will, you're going to be the agent. I said, well, it's a lot more convenient to get all this signed tonight since we're together if we want to, maximize our time. But I'm fine to do it either way. What's best for you is what matters most. You come off trying to close them early. You're a salesperson. You lose trust. Right? Okay. So, man, I get pretty passionate about that stuff. I hope that sticks because that I can't help it. But so,
Well,
yeah,
I just got to share a story with you.
Okay.
I had an agent way back, this is 20 years ago, who used a technique which I would never advise to anybody else, but it's a funny story. The people said, well, we need to pray about it.
Okay.
And he said, well, I'll go wait in my car. How long will it take?
Yeah. I thought you were going to say, well, here, let's get on our knees right now. No, I mean, this remind at the last IDW, it's Instructor Development Workshop. I've gone for 20 years, you guys. 20 years I've gone to the state workshop every fall. And one of the guys said, well, I have a scenario for you. And so it was meant to teach stigmatized property. And they said, so this is an older lady, single widowed lady is selling her home. And she's asking some questions about something that could be stigmatized. I think it's because of the death of her husband and the way he died or something like that. And we're the point is to teach stigmatized property. So they broke us up into groups and said, here's a scenario, and take, someone go around the room and like practice, like, how would you, go about this? Like, how would you teach it? Okay. So I'm thinking, okay, I look at the group and I said, you guys really want to know what I would say? And they go, no, I really do. And I'm like, well, it's probably not what you're thinking. And they go, no, go ahead. And I said, look, I would look at this lady and I'd say, how long ago did you lose your husband? That must be really hard. I'm sorry to hear that. And I didn't even talk about stigmatized property. And then all of a sudden I said, you really want to know what I would say? And we were role playing. And so I'm looking at this person who's in my group, and she's supposed to be the older lady who's, lost her husband. And I would say that must've been a very, very traumatic thing to experience. Are you okay? And then everyone stopped and look, I hate to, I don't mean to say, hey, way to go, Will, but it's the way I'm wired. And I think it helps you guys to never forget to be heartfelt. Okay. Cause it'll always win. All right. Because it's about them. It's not a personal agenda. Salespeople have a personal agenda. Okay. Heartfelt people care about others first. Okay. And we can still do that. And, like we can love them and lead them and still be compensated a fair amount. Right. Okay. So that will always win. And anyway, one of my peers said, that's why Will's a great teacher. And it turned the entire conversation at IDW to a different point. And anyway, all of this ties in together, guys. I like the structure, but I want you to be authentic, right? I want you to memorize script, but only as the instructor, so you're not scripted, that you're authentic and you're honest and you're heartfelt. I want you to be a better communicator, not a salesperson. So that is what this is all about. And if you talk about the reason and the why, you talk physician level, like Joe said, and you talk benefit, you speak value. Value substantiates your cost. And look, people talk about you and they want to work with you and refer you. And it will always be the best way to build a business. Okay. Because you do it with trust. Okay. If no one else has anything, I know we have a busy day today and a busy week. Thank you for all the comments. And hey, Mike and Kev, thanks for joining. Joe, thank you. Angie, thank you. And I appreciate all you guys. It's an honor to be your broker and to brag about you all the time. We have the best group of people I could ever want to work for and work with. And I just wish you the best. And I hope you go out and practice and apply this. Not only will it be better for your client, but you'll be happy. You'll be happy and fulfilled with what you do. And it's always better than a paycheck anyway. Okay. I love
Thanks,
you guys.
Will.
You go ahead and stop
Yeah.
recording, Joe.